Welcome to the Streetwise Property Pulse, your weekly resource for the latest Ontario financing and real estate investing updates, where we provide you with timely updates and perspectives from leading real estate practitioners, answer your burning questions, and share with you valuable tips and strategies. This is Dalia Barsoum from Streetwise Mortgages. We've been getting a lot of questions recently about how the real estate values have been impacted by COVID-19. On today's episode, we are here speaking with Mr. Lorenzo Presutti. He's the CEO of Sharp Appraisal and Consulting. Lorenzo will share with us today his observations in regards to the values in larger markets, generally for properties valued at $700,000 or more. That includes Toronto and GTA, York Region, Peel Region and Durham, Simcoe up to Brantford, as well as York Region. For a detailed list of the cities that fall within these regions, you may visit sharpappraisal.ca. Lorenzo, welcome. We are very pleased to have you here today. Please briefly tell us about your firm, your appraisal experience, and the markets you operate in.
Hi, Dalia. Thanks for having me on your program. My name's Lorenzo Presutti. I own and operate a company called Sharp Appraisal. We're located in the Vaughan area, but we cover the GTA area, anywhere between, let's say, Burlington, Oakville, as far east as Whitby and Oshawa, and as far north as Barrie. Myself, I have over 20 years experience as a real estate appraiser, 25 years as a real estate broker, and our firm has 5 full-time real estate appraisers as well as 2 full-time staff members.
A lot has changed in the past few weeks when it comes to the appraisal process and the real estate volumes. Lorenzo, how are you and your clients adjusting to the new norms of doing business?
Yeah, Dalia, a lot has changed over the last 30 days on our appraisal process. Before, we used to do full appraisals, which meant a full inspection from the outside and the inside. And today, a lot of lenders are expecting what we call drive-by appraisals, desktop appraisals, or modified appraisals. I'm going to concentrate on modified appraisals because that's what most lenders are accepting today. And that's where we physically go to the property. However, we are taking only exterior photos and measurements, and we are relying on the applicant to provide us detailed information on the interior property, photos, filling out forms, etc. Now, really, in terms of real estate volumes, they are down considerably. I would say anywhere between 40 to 60% in some areas. And, that's been happening. I would say in the last 2 weeks, we've seen a little bit of an increase in volume. People are starting to get their heads wrapped around on what's going on with the COVID-19, and people have to make moves, and people are starting to refinance their properties.
Are you currently seeing any shift in property values within the markets you operate in? If so, can you tell us more about that?
So yes, we have seen a shift in real estate values, depending on the area and the price range. Now, you have to remember that real estate values change regularly based on what's happening in the economy and how many people are out there looking for real estate. What we found is that prior to March 15th, which I'm going to classify as pre-COVID, the market was still strong. People were still out there looking at homes. Then as the COVID-19 pandemic became more in full force, which I'm going to classify, let's say, after March 15th, we noticed that there were very minimal sales. Now, I'm going to say that over the last 2 to 3 weeks, we're seeing more data come available to us, which is helping us formulate a value. In terms of pricing, I'm not going to deny prices had dropped considering what had happened. But then you have to remember that there were no active listings and you had less buyers on the market looking at homes because they didn't want to get sick. So what I'm finding, though, over the short and long-term trend, and when I'm comparing the numbers from now over to, let's say, numbers back in January, February, the market has declined, but not as sharply as I thought it would decline. We're looking at anywhere between 3 to 7%. Now, keep in mind, though, in some areas that you might have a more significant increase in or decrease in value, especially in the properties that are selling in the $1.5 million the 2 million range, just because you don't have that many buyers out there right now looking at that. But in a whole, the market is not tanking. It's not in a free fall, and I think it's more or less in a hold position right now.
Lorenzo, given that the appraisers are no longer visiting the inside of properties, do you have any tips for clients on anything they need to do differently to continue to support the best value for their asset?
So Delia, a lot has changed over the past month and a half, 2 months on how we inspect properties. So we are conducting an exterior inspection of the property, taking front, rear, and side photos. And we're also peeking through the front window and patio doors to have an indication of the interior finish of the property. As a own homeowner, I recommend the following. First of all, I would complete any forms that the appraiser sends you in detail. Now, typically this form will ask you, have you conducted any updates on the property? What type of flooring do you have? Have you had any damage or required any repairs over the last couple of years? Please be as thorough as you can. So to say that you have hardwood flooring is great, but if you want to say that you have hardwood flooring which has been upgraded in the past 2 years, that's even better. You want to mention, of course, if you've had any upgrades to your kitchen cabinets. What type of countertop do you have? Is it marble? Is it laminate? Any washroom updates? When was the last time you had your bathroom renovated? And just overall, when the house was painted, roof is very important to us. When was that done as well? And don't forget also to take a look at your electrical panel and your mechanical system. Another thing that we recommend is taking a minimum of 2 pictures per room. And, take pictures of your floor and your ceiling if you want to include those. The more information we have as an appraiser, the better we're able to give you a more, I would say, accurate value.
For all new purchases that you have seen since the lockdown, are you seeing properties selling above, at, or below asking?
Dalia, since the lockdown, we have seen prices fluctuating. I mean, at the beginning of the lockdown, there were no sales. People weren't out there buying, and prices may have dropped somewhat. Over the last, I'm gonna say, 15 to 30 days, I've seen sales activity actually go up in some areas. Now, you've got to remember, we cover a wide range of real estate, from Oakville all the way far east as Oshawa and Whitby area. But what I'm noticing is, let's say, for example, in the Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, Oshawa area, when you look at the number of sales that have happened over the last 15 to 30 days, they've actually gone up compared to, just when the COVID virus pandemic started. So that's a good sign. In terms of value pricing, a lot depends on what the real estate agent prices the property. If they're looking for a competitive list scenario, they're actually going to be listing it at a lower value, and then you're going to get these multiple bids. But if the property is listed, properly, they're selling within, let's say, a 95 to 102% of the asking price. So, we're not seeing sales drastically dropping. Again, it's pricing is sensitive to the location and the type of home that you have. But basically, they're selling within a certain respectable range on what they're listed for. I don't see any drastic selling where people are selling their properties at 15, 20% below market value because they're scared and they want to get out. What I'm actually seeing is that, people are listing their homes at the right time, and we have buyers that are looking at buying homes. So we don't have an oversupply and an undersupply of real estate. I think it's being matched by how many buyers are actually physically going out to take a look at homes. I know it's a long-winded answer, but I don't see any doom and gloom in pricing right now.
Lorenzo, many thanks for your perspective and updates. On the topic of appraisals, guys, here are a couple of key tips for you to consider. As prices may be softening temporarily in some markets, our recommendation, if you're considering a refinance soon or if you have a purchase in the pipeline, is to request that your lender or broker order the appraisal right away. This way, you can lock in on the value for the next 120 days because this is how long appraisal reports are valid for. Also, if you have renovated a property and you're looking to extract equity out of that property through a refinance, our suggestion is to equip the appraisal with the best data possible in regards to your project. You may include what you've done to the property, how much you've spent, before and after pictures, and also have your realtor provide the appraiser with some recent comparables. That will help the appraiser support the best value for your asset. That's it for today, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.